My name is Jason Sweeney.
And how long have you been a real estate agent?
Pretty much 3 years to this date. 3 years, January
Yeah.
20th of 2020 we started.
My name is Victoria Gary.
And how long have you been a real estate agent?
Same since January 2020. So 3 years, a little
Mhm.
over. Yeah, definitely.
Yep, jumped right into it, right? Like no real estate experience, and then next thing you know, here we are. Actually, we joined the team before we got licensed.
Yeah, they really helped a lot. Very supportive and they've been an excellent team. So
Yeah, it was really nice because it kind of showed us what we had to do before actually getting started. And then once we got licensed, it was just like, okay, now you have all the tools. Now go sell houses.
yeah, exactly. It kind
Yeah.
of left us out there, but with a ton of support,
A
right?
ton of support, yeah, and then a lot of intimidation because you can't forget being in that tiny room at that time, just you, me, Steve, and Dan, and then just like having Dan breathing down our backs, making sure like we're saying things correctly, making the phone calls,
Yeah, absolutely.
and doing everything we had to do to get the business.
Yeah.
So it was really awesome and also scary. Well, so I did construction. I worked for a construction firm. I traveled up and down the East Coast, helping out with vibration monitoring. So it was great because I got
What's
this.
that mean?
Yeah. So
Vibration
yeah. So what we did
Vibration
was
specialist.
vibration. I was labeled as a vibration specialist. Yeah. It was. What I did was I monitored. So say for instance, there's a building next door and they're going to blow it up, implode it, take it down. Or if they're building something, they're causing like a lot of pile driving or something. Whatever's going to cause vibrations in the ground that could potentially cause structural issues on the house next door or building. So my job was to survey the building or house before, during, and after to make sure to monitor pre-existing conditions and to make sure nothing else occurred.
Yeah.
And then of course build the actual seismograph box essentially to monitor the vibrations, and I got to
Nice.
travel all up and down the East Coast, which was great at that time. But after like 3 years, it was just there's no incentive. It was just kind of a vicious circle of taking pictures of cracks.
Yeah.
That's really all I did. And I mean, at one point it was fun, but then after a while I was like, okay, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
I hear you.
And then just kind of fell into real estate, right afterwards.
Yeah, I was definitely in that same situation. Coming to where you get to that point where you don't want to do that anymore, and you know this is not what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So I managed, as you know, many stores in this area, so many retail stores. So I was sort of a general manager of sorts. And you got to that point where, I loved the people I worked with. I loved training those people, and I loved seeing them grow. But, when you start to have those nights and you're separating hangers, two fingers, and you're thinking about, am I really, I think about maybe this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So let's go 2 fingers. What is that? I don't know. Like you have to have 2 fingers.
So there's a lot of visual rules or like expectations and that you had to follow, and that was just one of them. So if you had a rolling rack and you move a hanger and 2 fingers,
It had to be 2 finger
hanger,
separation.
2
Really?
finger- yeah.
And you had to do that to all of the racks in the store. Oh.
Not every night, but it depended. If you had a floor set night, it was, we're up till 3 a.m. Then I'm back at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So I slept for 2 hours maybe, and
Wow.
it was a
What
lot.
goes into the clothes that you buy?
Yeah.
Yes.
More than what I assumed.
So be nice to those retail workers because you don't understand. They go through a lot. So
I can imagine, 'cause
you know.
I've been that person who finds something that doesn't fit or I don't like, and I just put it back somewhere random.
Yep, you're the one
and-
that balls it up and just.
I mean, if it can't fit back on the rack, you got to do something with it. So you just shove it in there. I mean, I thought it was, for me, a good, like looking back, I didn't realize it at the time that it was a good time, just because obviously when we started, we had no idea COVID was about to happen, and then it did.
Of course, yeah.
And then there's even more uncertainty because then we were like working from home. We weren't sure if we could even show a house. What are we going to do? And then a boom happened. I feel like, I mean, you got Rookie of the Year. Like you did.
Thanks.
I mean, you did really well the first year. I mean, so did I, but you did even more than what I did. So it was great. So I think that we got in a good time because as first time realtors, it was helping us generate, in my opinion, like a sphere or past clients to help keeping us going.
I think it was good. I agree with you. We didn't quite know at the time how good it was going to be, but at the same time, all that uncertainty, I think we just really had to learn and grow a lot and adjust. And I think it was good to start in a market that wasn't quote unquote normal, because I think we had to work a lot harder, learn a lot faster. And we did, and then we've both been really successful. So I think it was a really great time. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I would say all the training and script practice that we do is huge. So we did a lot of that different market, in 2020 and 2021. So it's really just adjusting the conversation. So really using all those tools that we have is helping us adjust and still be successful. Especially
identifying it before it hits too, because we started noticing a trend, and then once we see that trend, we start preparing ourselves with the script practice. That way, like, hey, this is what we're seeing in the market today. Let's go ahead and start figuring out how we can handle those objections, like waiting till the spring after the holidays. Interest rates are increasing, waiting to see what interest rates are doing. Like the same thing we've been hearing, everyone always wants to wait. So just trying to figure out what the problem is and how can we handle it.
Yeah.
And that's been huge with, like you said, with script practicing.
Yeah, what's the shift? How can we help those people still achieve their goals? Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's been huge. That's interesting. Yeah, 100%. I can tell you right now, I would never go back to where I was before. I just remember that feeling. Like anytime I feel like if I'm struggling today, I think about where I was 3 years ago and that state of mind, the position I was in, what I was going through personally and mentally. I just know I'm in a better position today. It's just overall between, like, my mental health is better. I'm more financially better. I just in the team, the culture, the positive mindset that everyone has here is just an overall better environment, and I just can't see myself doing anything else. So, yeah, it doesn't get easier for sure. Like there's always something's always changing, but in my opinion, you adapt and you just keep going because I know there's nothing else I'd want to do right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely in the same boat. Don't see myself going anywhere. Love the team, love what I'm doing, and all the opportunity. I think that was huge for both of us. You hit that cap and you can't really grow anymore or change or make much more of a difference. And here we can. It's really the limit. There's no limit. It's up to us.
That's a big one. You mentioned the cap. Like there is, like, no matter what we do, like it's up to you. Do what you want to do, and you can go as far as you want to go.
Yeah.
If you want to do the bare minimum to barely get by, that's fine. But if you want to push yourself to the sky's the limit, you just keep on going.
Yep.
And what's awesome, I also wanted, like, for you specifically, because you were able to have a child and then come back and then do it all over again and still be able to adjust your time to like help sell houses and help other families and making it work. And that's awesome, because I know I've heard horror stories of families or mothers in the past and other jobs and careers where it's a lot harder to do something like that.
And it has been great, and the team's been really supportive, and that's what I knew I wanted, and that flexibility was not available in my previous job at all. So this is great. I can still support my family and do a lot more than I would be able to do elsewhere, and have a ton of family time and work and be successful. And it's been great. So
good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about, like, I love that the open time management. As long as you're doing what you need to do, the work-life balance, like,
exactly, it's up to us. So
it's up to us.
If I'm not doing it right, then it's on me. But I think I'm handling it pretty well.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think you're doing great. I think we're both doing great. So.
I mean, I think one of the best pieces of advice that we've gotten when we started, to me, was you're not improving or you're not making a difference if you're not uncomfortable. So I don't know that I would change a piece of advice, just because I think that one hit home for me. Because the more uncomfortable I am, the more you're learning, the more you're growing, and that's made a huge difference. So.
Yeah, I would definitely give myself a lot of advice, because I think I learned the hard way, and Dan called me out on it too. When it was like I know, like, he kind of compared us. We're the opposite. Like, you were somebody more so by the book. You read the contracts. You understood what you had to do. Where I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to go wing it and hope for the best. And I did that, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Luckily, there was.
But you learn.
But
right?
I learned,
you learn
right?
From them.
If I could tell myself anything, it would be to don't be stubborn. Listen to what Dan, Troyce, and Steve and everyone are telling me to do, and then do it, and then keep up with everything, especially with like working with my sphere, my closest friends and family. I don't know. For me, just keep on. I have personal goals. I want to increase my GCI goals. Always trying to earn as much as I possibly can, and then increase my average sales price. Yeah. So where I'm going to be in 3 years, I can only. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer because I just don't know. Because for me, like, I never knew I could be where I am today. Mm-hmm. So like I thought, coming into the team, like, man, if I could just make $100,000, that'd be fantastic. And then, not to put my earnings out there, but then like I'm able to
did that.
Yeah, being able to exceed my expectations and see how far I could go. Like you were saying, sky's the limit, which is a great thing. So it's kind of hard for me to imagine it just because that's just not what I'm familiar with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 years. I look at, I guess, a few different aspects. Really, it would be investing more. Mm-hmm. So I look at a lot at other opportunities. So, being able to manage my time really well and help more clients effectively while also spending enough family time. That's one of my biggest goals. So just being able to manage both. And then just investing more so that we have the opportunities here to invest within the team, invest in real estate. So that's another big one, because the more knowledge I have there, the more I can continue to help investors, and so those are my goals.
Others.
Yeah.
Because a lot with investing, because you're working with properties that obviously could use some upkeep, or you're working with financials and what like your return on investment could be too. So that's a lot of knowledge that comes into play when you're trying to help just more than just investors down the line.
Of course, yeah.
Whenever you're walking through a house and you're working with a seller, trying to guide them along the line, like, well, if you need to fix this or that up, this is what could potentially cost you, and then potentially earn you this much on top of your sales price or whatever. So it kind of comes into play. I like that. Not to kind of piggyback off of it, but I also would like to work on some investments and get a few rental properties out there and create more sense of wealth for myself, my family. Like
exactly.
I'm engaged, so hopefully I finally have my wedding planned in the past in the next 3 years. So next time we have this conversation in 3 more years, I should be married. Fingers crossed. Rachel, if you're listening. And then the same way, I would have a couple investment properties and just keep pushing myself. The one thing I just wanted to really say is just like how far we've come and how every year's just been something different, and we're still like able to overcome it, and the fact that the team gives us all the resources we need.
It's true.
Like we were just talking before this, you wanted to build like strategic partners, and like Steve or Dan and Troyce and everybody else is able to help us out on like how we should do that.
Exactly. It's always good to have that support and extra knowledge so that we can help our clients, not just from our experiences, but from the experiences of all the other agents and, the 30 years or plus if we combine everybody, all their knowledge. It's great to get their feedback, their input. So
it's great.
Yeah. But it's been great. It's been a good 3 years and looking for a lot more, positive, good years to come.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited to see what this year comes going into year 4. And one thing I've just learned is just really for me is just honing in on keeping up with everybody, talking to all my friends and all my family, and keeping in touch with all my past clients. Just because, that's just it's what we do. We're here to help people, and we have to see who else we can help.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is good.
No, I'm not nervous. I can't breathe. I was so awkward. I was like, just look at
Some good content.